Hello, Sharon.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, fine. Thanks.
Okay.
Un momento. Ok. Ok. Ho preso il libro.
Ah, brava,
Sì,
bravissima.
sì, è
Vedrai che
arrivato.
ti troverai bene perché almeno ci puoi lavorare sopra ed è
Sì,
molto più semplice così.
sì.
Could you manage to finish the exercise number 5?
Yes.
Okay, and did you check the results or do you want that we check it together?
Non so, scusami, ci sono le risposte?
Sì, sì, in fondo al libro ci sono le risposte,
Ah, no, e
però
allora
queste le
sì.
possiamo vedere insieme.
Ok, sì.
Così andiamo anche a vedere se ci sono dei problemi, quali e perché. Ok, mi puoi anche dire direttamente le lettere. Se abbiamo davanti.
Non ho sentito?
Mi puoi dire anche le lettere direttamente, così mi dici.
Ah, ok.
Ok.
Allora, B,
1B, yes.
1B, 2C,
C, yes.
C, 3B,
Yes.
4A,
Ok.
5C,
Yes.
6D,
Good.
7A,
Good.
8B,
Good.
9D,
Yeah.
e 10C.
Very good. Excellent. Very good. I'm so glad. Okay. Action plan. Now we are going to see the real exam practice. Quindi questa è la parte 1 dell'esame. Come si svolge la parte 1 dell'esame? Hai un testo breve dove ci sono dei you have to fill some gaps, and for these gaps you have 4 words. These 4 words are also, they have all the same grammar identity. That means they could be for verbs, for preposition, for auxiliary, all the same, okay? And you have to choose which one is good. Of course, you have to report everything on your answer sheet that you got separately. But now we start to do it together. If you have the possibility of having your book together, so you can read it and then find out the right appropriate word. Okay?
Ok.
Let's go on with the text.
Ok.
It's important that you start from the title to understand what it is about. What
Okay.
could it be? A space junk.
Non so come dirlo in inglese, la spazzatura.
Yes.
Ok.
In the space. Yes.
Okay.
That is the topic. Okay.
The space age began over half a century ago.
And here is the example that you already have. Okay. Because you have an example.
Okay.
That is a well.
Okay. And ever since then, the area just the Earth's atmosphere has been filling up with all kinds of man-made objects that have become as space junk.
Okay, so fill in the first 2 spaces.
Okay. The example is well, began
yes.
Well. And ever since then
since. And ever since then, the area, just the Earth,
just beyond.
Beyond the Earth, yes. The Earth atmosphere has been filling up with all kinds of man-made objects that have become a space junk.
That
You got to refer.
called?
No, is known.
No. Okay.
Because it's as. So which completes a fixed phrase with as, because here you have to have become known as. You can't say named as or called as. They are called no preposition.
Okay.
To put the words in the proper place, you have to be very, very careful of what is following or sometimes what is before. Okay, so this is.
So, called and named.
Non vogliono preposizioni dopo.
Okay.
Yes.
The items up there from all the satellites and part of rockets to hundreds of thousands of pieces smaller than 1 centimeter, all of them traveling at extremely speed.
Okay.
The items cover
the items up there from all satellites
enclose
wait a moment. There's something here. Including close cover range. From and to. There. No, there's a mistake here in the word. Include and close cover and range. Because you have to put it from there. There came and close cover range. Include. Okay. Include. Yes. Include from all satellites and part of rockets to hundreds of thousands of pieces smaller than 1 centimeter. Okay. All of them traveling
at extremely speed.
Okay. How is the speed?
Velocità?
Yes.
Okay. Potrebbe light speed? No.
No. It's not light speed. Come può essere questa velocità?
O è rapido o è fast. Rapid.
Ma rapid e faster vuol dire una velocità rapida o una veloce velocità? Non fa
Un'altra.
molto senso. Invece è high speed, alta velocità. Ok, high speed, perché è un aggettivo che devi mettere insieme, solo uno va con speed, perché non puoi dire una rapida velocità, una leggera velocità o una veloce velocità, ma dici un'alta velocità. It's the same as in Italian. Ok. 5.
Okay. Over the last 5 years, the number of such objects in space is to have risen by 50%, and this has increased the risk of damage to working
Satellites
or space vehicles with crew on board.
Ok.
Ok. Estimated?
Yes, is estimated to have risen by 50%.
And this has largely?
No, is greatly increased.
Okay. Okay. International agreement has therefore now been on limiting the amount of new space junk. Scientists have also some interesting suggestions for tidying up space. These include using laser beams, giant nets, and even an enormous umbrella-like device to collect tiny bits of junk.
Very good. So for 7 and 8, they ask you which goes with agreement and the preposition on. Because in your test, you have international agreement has therefore now been on. So it's something that has to be connected with what do we use with agreement and with on.
Okay.
Which of the 4 choices that you have?
Arrived?
You don't arrive to an agreement, but it's very similar.
Reached?
Yes, because you reach an agreement.
Okay.
International agreement has therefore now been reached on. Okay.
Okay.
And the other one, scientists have also, now they tell you which 3-part verb means think of. You see, here you have all phrasal verbs, all with, but just one is the correct one and means think of.
Caught up with?
No, it's not caught up, but it's more simply come up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, now let's do in part 2. How is made, so read this to understand how is part 2 of the reading and use of English.
Task information.
Yes, please.
In part 2, there is a text with 8 gaps. There are no sets of words from which to choose. Part 2 mainly tests grammar words like article, auxiliary verbs, pronouns, preposition, linking expression, and verbs forms, as well as words in phrasal verbs and fixed phrases. You must only use one word in each gap, and your spelling must be correct.
Correct.
Spelling.
Okay, so let's start the exam. The exam, the first you got reading and use of English.
Okay.
Part 1 is a short test with gaps, and you have a choice of 4 words to put, like the one that you have just done it now. The second part, part 2, you got a test the same with some gaps, but now you don't have any choice. You just have to find out your own word. Remember, do not look for such difficult words, because usually they are just words. They are connectors, they can be auxiliary verbs, they can be adverbs or anything, but usually they are very easy. Okay, so now let's do it together, some exercises to prepare for this second part. So sometimes they are relative pronouns. Now, do you know the relative pronouns that, when, where, which, who, and whose? Can you tell me something about it? When do we use that? For what?
For an object.
For object or even for people? The same. When do we use when?
For time.
Good. Where?
For space.
Places, yes. Which?
Which for someone.
No. For usually is for.
For an object.
For objects, yes. For things, yes. Who?
Who for someone.
For people. And whose?
Who's no, I don't know.
Okay, it's for possession. Okay. So is che, quando, dove, quale, chi, di chi. Whose is di chi. Okay, possession. Okay, so now you got all the rule here. So let's try to put it there. In any kind
of relative clause, we can use for people.
Who for people, yes. Who for people.
For things, which or that.
Which for thing, yes.
Which. Whose for possession.
Yes.
When for time.
Good.
Where for places.
Places, yes, very good.
In a defining a relative clause, we can also use that.
Yes.
For people or things. The girl that sang really well. The tree that grows so tall.
Yes, the same. Okay, we can use them both. Now, tick the sentences which are correct and replace the relative pronoun in those that are wrong. Sometimes more than one answer is possible. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, here you think, is there a mistake here? Read the sentence and find out if it's correct or not.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember Simon was used to teach us was is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
The correct is who.
Very good.
Okay. I think that the best time to come is in early
August.
August, which we have the celebration.
Celebration.
When in which
Instead
is
of, yes. When
which.
instead of which. Very
Mhm.
good. Very good. 3.
They invited me to a pop concert with which took place in Rio last month.
Mm-hmm.
It's correct.
It's correct. Yes.
It's correct.
4.
I'm writing in reply to the advertisement who asks for people to help in a summer camp.
Yes.
Which instead who.
Of who? Yes. Which
Mhm.
instead of who? Yes, good.
I met some people there which become my good friends.
Mm-hmm.
That instead which.
Yes, that or who.
Mm.
The same. That is correct as well.
Okay. It was a period of my life that I had many problems. Correct?
No, not really.
It was a period of my life. When?
Brava.
When,
Very
okay.
good. Yes.
When. It was not until I was 17 that I started writing down all what happened to me every day.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Here you got unknown. One is correct, one is not.
Okay, it was not until. That it's correct that I started.
Yes, this is correct. Okay.
What?
What? How do you substitute this what with what?
I started that.
Yes, good. All that happened to me every day. Yeah. 8.
Instead of going to a nursery, I went to a school which children learn by playing.
Yes.
Which it's correct.
No, it's not.
Where?
Yes. Where is correct.
Okay. There are some people whose aim in life is to earn as much money as possible.
Okay.
There are some people who instead whose.
Now, whose is correct because it's their own aim is. So it's the possession of aim. Do you know the word aim?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's their own aim. So whose is correct?
Mm.
So everything is fine here.
Okay.
It's just a correct sentence, yes. And then you got 10.
The park hotel that I found in the guide is now closed. So I stayed at the Central. It's correct.
Not really. It's
The
better
park
to put to
which
change one. Yes,
which
very good.
instead
Instead of that. Very good. Super, fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, now you have to use a relative close, choosing from the one that we have already used, and you choose which one. Okay, let's go on.
Melanie, questo?
Yes, yes.
Melanie Johnson. House is opposite mine. Is my favorite neighbor.
Okay.
Which
What does it mean? Melanie Johnson, whose house? Oh, sorry. I got it. I told you whose, because it's
Okay.
becoming, it's just, you know, automatic. Whose, la cui
Sì.
casa è di fronte alla mia. Okay? So
Okay.
that's why is the use of whose, the possession. Okay.
She's a warm and friendly person, always like to help other people. Who?
Yes. Who?
In the afternoon, I come home. She often waves and smiles to me from her front garden. She spends a lot of time in spring and summer. In the afternoon, when I come home.
Yeah.
Where?
Yes, where? Okay, good.
It has some lovely flower. She planted herself, and last week she gave some to my mother.
Okay.
Birthday was on Friday. Okay. Which?
Which 5? Yes.
Her, no.
Very close to. So if you got it, that is her birthday, you can just use one of those pronoun.
Whose?
Yes, whose,
Okay.
because it's the possession. Her birthday, that means whose birthday was on Friday. Very good.
Okay. She's always been generous like that. I remember years ago, I was about 10. She painted a picture for me. Was so lovely that I put it on my bedroom wall. It's still there.
Very good. Okay. 7 and 8.
When I was she painted the picture for me. Which?
Yes. Very good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, some question in part 2 test usually use linking expression like although or unless. Now let's try to put all these words and this expression in the box under the correct heading below. So we have some of them, they are expressing addition. And for example, is and. Some of them, they express a conditional like if. Then you have some that are expressing contrast like but, purpose like to, and reason like because. So try to put them all in the right one and you can cancel it each time you find it. Okay, addition. And plus?
In addition to?
In addition to, of course.
So?
No, it's not addition. There's so many now, so it's not easy to see all them. If you want, try to do some different category, and then you come back there. For example, conditional. Condition. What
conditional,
do you? If, and then what else?
in case?
No, this is not a condition. In case. A condition can be provided that. Provided that you have your permission, you will go to the concert. Okay, that is a condition to get to the concert.
Okay.
You got some else. You got another couple if you want to continue with conditional. There are the two for conditional, or you want to find out something about contrast.
Contrast.
Like but, and then what do you have? Here there are many.
Although?
Although, yes, of course. Although is a contrast. Although.
Despite?
Despite, yes. Despite, where is despite? Let me, okay. Despite the fact that, okay. There are so many to create contrast. They are the majority, actually. Despite is that something that is similar to despite.
In spite of.
In spite of.
Even so.
Even so. And you got another even somewhere.
Even so.
Even though. Even so, even though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want to try purpose? They're not
Yeah.
finished anyway. Yeah. Okay. Purpose.
Yet.
No. Purpose is the aim.
Because of.
No, that is the reason why. Because of. But the purpose could be in order that. Or
In order to.
in order to.
Due to.
No.
No.
Maybe reasons are the the easiest that you have here.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to look
Okay.
for the reasons. Yeah, because, and then
Due to.
due to, of course.
Because of.
Due to the fact, because of course.
Unless.
No.
While.
No. I know that it's difficult because they have no context to locate them. So you have just to know their exact meaning. But this is helping you a lot when you have to find out the proper word to put in a space. Because, you know, if you know that, for example, a word is just using for contrast, you are not going to use in another context. Okay, let's see. So other reason, for example, on account of.
Okay.
Okay, or what do we have here? Owing to, dovuto a. Okay. And we also have, for example, let me see. Oh, in case. Okay, and also that since. Dato che, no? Dato dal momento che, since. Is not just about period of time, since, but is also to explain something. Let's go back to some purpose. So the purpose that I was just coloring with light blue. The purpose, you say in order to, in order that, okay. Then we have so, that's a purpose, and the same so as to, così come, okay?
Sì.
And then one of the most important is the contrast, because so often you have a word, a sentence, and then the contrast. So the contrast, you say although, even so, even though, in spite of, despite, the fact. Then we have, what can we put it? Although, despite. and yet, or though, of course, though, like although and though, more or less the same, but also whereas and while, that they all means mentre, mentre al contrario, mentre. Okay?
Okay.
Then what do we have? But even so, you say however, comunque, okay. I think they're all of them. Then we got into the conditional. Of course, if that is not if, that is of course conditional. Yeah, then you say provided that, and you got unless. So you can go there unless you haven't finished your homework. In that case, you can't.
Yes.
Okay, unless and also as long as. So what do they have? The addition. The addition that we have was blue. Besides, in addition to, besides, and as well as. Do we have finished all of them, I think?
Yes.
Yes, they should be all of them. Okay. Okay, now you got all the chart that you can be used in different situation. And the first situation is this one. Okay, so here you have two alternatives and you have to find out in italics and you have to find out which one is correct. Okay.
Okay.
For example, here you have because or because of. That is very different. Okay, read them all and tell me which one is your choice.
Okay. The boat trip along the river was cancelled.
River?
River was cancelled.
Cancelled.
Cancelled. Because of the bad weather. Because of the bad weather.
Okay. A causa di.
We will have to consider joining another club unless besides you make the improvements.
Yes.
Unless.
Unless. Yes.
I am enclosing a telephone card in case if your mobile phone doesn't work in Italy.
Yes, mobile.
Mobile. In case.
In case. Good. 4.
The visit should be longer so as to give people the chance to see the whole city.
Whole city, yes.
So has.
So has. Good.
The dates of the exam need to change in order that all students can take it. In order that.
In order that. Yes, it's complete.
We had to move out of the city center owing to because the rise in
prices, yes.
Prices. Owing to.
Owing to.
Even so. Even so.
Even though.
Even though.
Even though. Even so.
Okay. We are irritated by commercialists, they can give us useful information.
Commercials.
Commercial. Even though.
Even though, what are commercials?
The person I don't know.
Okay. Now, I suppose you didn't know because you say commercialist. That doesn't make any sense in English, but commercials sono le pubblicità.
Ok.
Non ci irritano i commercialisti. Oddio, potrebbero anche irritarci molto, però in questo caso sono le pubblicità.
Ok. We must replace the loudspeaker speakers as long as since the current ones aren't satisfactory.
Ok. Since. Yes.
You can ask the teacher for help if in case you need further
Guidance.
In case you need.
If, just if, yes, if you need.
Although, in spite of the fact the accommodation is cheap, it is very comfortable.
Comfortable.
Although.
No, it's in spite because you got the fact. Because if it were although, you could say, although the accommodation is cheap, it is very comfortable. But you have to say, in spite of the fact the accommodation is cheap, is very comfortable. If you got in of the fact, you have to put in spite of. Okay, good. Now complete the text with other words from exercise 4 that you have here. Our exercise, our chart. Sometimes more than one answer is possible.
Okay. It was getting late by the time Sam and Marco approached the summit on account of the terrible weather on their way up. In two high winds that nearly swept them right off the mountain, they faced the freezing temperatures and heavy snowfalls.
Okay. In what does it mean here? That they have high winds that nearly swept them right on the mountain and faced freezing temperature and heavy snowfalls all together, one after the other. So I say in
in order.
What does it mean in order here? In order to high winds,
No.
Doesn't make any sense. Hanno dovuto fronteggiare temperature gelate, le nevicate e i venti fortissimi. Per cui quello e quell'altro. Per cui un insieme.
No, non ho...
Qual è il senso di questa frase? Prova anche a tradurmela.
in
Vabbè, qualcosa agli alti venti forti, diciamo.
che li hanno swept them right off
li hanno quasi spazzati via.
dalla montagna, hanno dovuto appunto far fronte alle temperature gelide e le forti nevicate.
Per cui oltre a quello, quell'altro e quell'altro, oltre messo con in, quale potrebbe essere delle parole che abbiamo visto?
In addition.
Brava, in addition. Sono tante, per cui mi rendo conto che non è semplicissimo, però se riesci a capire il senso,
Sì.
riesci anche a trovare quale di queste e poi per esclusione vai con in, c'era solo addition, in addition. Ok, vai con la 3.
And neither of them had any talks of giving up.
Quindi ne potresti usare addirittura 2,
La traduzione di questa frase,
Dimmi.
Nessuno di noi aveva idea di...
No, di noi non c'è, di loro.
Nessuno di loro aveva idea...
Giving up. Che cos'è giving up? To give up vuol dire proprio mollare, lasciar perdere.
E quindi aveva idea, nessuno di loro aveva idea di...
Sì.
Di lasciar perdere.
Esatto. Per cui hanno fronteggiato molte difficoltà.
Quindi sarebbe un
contrasto, esatto.
Ok.
Praticamente vorrebbe dire nonostante ciò, no?
Ok, sì.
Nessuno di loro, però hai neither, per cui cosa vai a usare dopo?
And although?
No, perché quello è sebbene. E sebbene nessuno di loro, no. Invece è proprio come dire, e nonostante ciò, che lo puoi esprimere con 2 parole. La prima, ed è anche la più comune, è and yet, e ancora, no? In quel senso. Nessuno di loro voleva mollare. Oppure puoi anche dire, invece di and yet, ne puoi usare un'altra, che è even so. And even so, anche così, nessuno di loro, ok?
Sì. In of the awful condition, they were determined to keep climbing even every step was now a huge effort.
Yes.
To the fact they were so high up and the air was so thin.
Okay. Anche qui abbiamo un contrasto, no?
Cioè,
Perché
in
sì,
spite,
brava, in spite of the awful conditions,
they were determined to keep climbing even every step was no even
even though, che è quel THOUGH, ok? Even though, anche se ogni passo era un enorme sforzo. 6.
to the fact they Anche qui è un contrasto.
Qui ti spiega perché, no? A che cosa è dovuto.
Due to the fact.
Brava, o due to the fact oppure owing to the fact, dovuto al fatto o dovuto sempre al fatto che erano così in alto e l'aria era così sottile. Ok, 7. As
that, Marco was feeling quite ill, probably of the height and
height
and a lack of
food. Yes.
As long
as that. What does it mean, this as? Means also. In addition.
As well.
As well as means in addition, also. As well as that, in addition to that, Marco was feeling quite ill.
Probably because but they knew that reach the top they couldn't stop for anything, even meals.
Okay.
To reach.
Yes. To reach or in order to reach. Okay. It's okay.
They also knew that they got there this time. They would probably never have another chance to try.
A meno che, in pratica, no? Sapevano anche che a meno che non fossero arrivati questa volta, non avrebbero avuto probabilmente un'altra possibilità di provare.
Quindi è unless.
Quindi unless.
Ok.
And Sam
Was sure that as they could begin going down by 3 o'clock, they would make it safely back to base camp that night. They will both be very, very tired. Anche qui è as.
Anche qui c'è as, ma ha un altro significato, no?
Sì.
And Sam was sure that as they could begin going down by 3 o'clock, praticamente il significato in italiano sarebbe se fossero riusciti ad arrivare giù prima delle 3. Come provided, ma abbiamo as. Perché avrei potuto mettere Sam was sure that providing they could begin going down by 3 o'clock. Ma in questo caso as long as, esatto. E l'ultima ne puoi mettere almeno 4 o 5. They would both be very, very tired.
And they will both be very, very tired.
No, and no. Magari è una contrapposizione, no? Per cui ne hai parecchie che vanno bene qui.
While.
No, quello è mentre. Qui invece abbiamo un sebbene. Anche se.
Quindi.
Ma.
Sì, but, although.
But, although, though, even though, ne potevi mettere diverse, capito? Ok, allora Sharon, per la prossima volta prova a fare questo di pagina 17 da sola, che è esattamente come viene fatto l'esame, per cui hai il testo e devi trovare te delle parole. Guarda, per ognuno ti dà un'indicazione, un advice su come ragionarci sopra. Provaci e poi vediamo come l'hai fatto. Ricordati che la forma contratta sono 2 parole e invece qui ne devi sempre mettere una sola, per cui anche le forme contratte non vanno utilizzate. Poi se riesci a farlo, io ti posso anche mandare degli altri esercizi online e mi dici, guarda, mi mandi degli altri esercizi della Reading and Views of English Part 2 e io te li mando. Oppure ci vediamo direttamente venerdì e vediamo com'è andata questa e andiamo avanti con la parte 3.
Comunque
Okay?
le risposte stanno anche nella.
Le risposte le trovi in fondo.
Ok, perfetto.
Per cui lo puoi verificare. Se lo verifichi da sola, prenditi nota di quanti errori fai proprio in percentuale, perché adesso li vediamo solamente così in percentuale, poi dal prossimo test in poi, questo è il test 1, che ci serve per capire com'è strutturato l'esame, dal test 2 in poi prendiamo anche i tempi per ogni prova di esame, così tu sai esattamente cosa aspettarti.
Va bene.
Ok?
Sì.
Qualsiasi altra cosa, chiamami e fammelo sapere.
Va bene. Ok, grazie.
Ok, I'll send you everything. Big kiss, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao, bye.